What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share the video, and make sure you leave a comment. I'm anticipating there'll be a lot of comments on this video. Some people might be pissed off, some people might not be, but might talk some junk anyway, but it is what it is. Today, we're going to be talking about a kid that just got out of prison in May, out in Boston. He leaves a prison in Massachusetts, heads to my city, alleged gang member, hides out in these bushes, and does the unthinkable. But let's get to it. Blood on the Razor Wire TV. During the evening of July 21st, 2022, the night sky had set in while two Rochester, New York cops were staking out a murder suspect while sitting in an unmarked surveillance vehicle. Officer Anthony Mazurkowitz, a 29-year veteran of the Rochester Police Department, was with his partner, Officer Sino Sang, an 8-year veteran, when they were attacked on Bowman Street, according to the Rochester Police Chief David Smith. That is when a 21-year-old Boston man snuck up behind the vehicle, secreting himself behind large shrubs. He fired approximately 17 rounds at the vehicle from approximately 10 to 15 feet away. Officer Mazurkowitz, while sitting in the driver's seat, was struck at least twice in the upper body, and Officer Sang, sitting in the passenger seat, was shot once in the lower body. Despite having been shot, Officer Sang was able to exit the vehicle and return fire. The suspect, Kelvin Vickers, was not struck and proceeded to flee the scene on foot. Mazurkowitz was rushed to Strong Hospital, where he was listed in threatening condition that night. But the very next morning, during a press conference, the police chief had announced that despite heroic efforts, Mazurkowitz had died. The officer was a husband and a father. Sang was taken to Rochester General Hospital, where he too was treated and released. He would later go home with his wife and his children. Wonder what was going through his mind after such a chaotic night. Wonder if he contemplated being an officer. Wonder if he contemplated ever going back to work in a place that's known for danger. A 15-year-old girl who was inside her home near the incident was also grazed by one of 3 bullets that penetrated the wall of her home. This is how people live in this community. Young kids have to fear for their lives. Kelvin Vickers was not struck by the return fire from the cop in that passenger seat that night. He fled on foot and found himself in an abandoned home. But it was not long before cops had caught up with him. He decided to surrender despite having just unleashed a fury of violence an hour earlier. Violence that left people in fear in the Rochester, New York area. Vickers was later charged with murder in the second degree, attempted murder in the second degree, assault in the second degree, and 2 counts of criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree. And he has most recently been indicted on first-degree murder, which comes with a life sentence. Vickers is a reported gang member from Boston. He has an extensive criminal background. His criminal history includes juvenile contacts for assault and battery on an officer at the age of 12, burglary-related offenses, strangulation with a deadly weapon, assault with a deadly weapon, and 2 separate possession of firearm offenses. As an adult, Vickers has been convicted of possessing an unlicensed firearm. But the crazy part is, he was just released in May from Sousa Barnowski Prison north of Rochester, Mass. He served the maximum 3-year sentence for gun possession crime. He was arrested by the police there in Fall Rivers, Massachusetts in 2019. Documents show that Vickers was in the Massachusetts High-Risk Offender Program when he was in prison because he served the entire sentence. Vickers was not on parole or under any supervision when released from that Boston, Massachusetts prison. 2 months later, Vickers was in Rochester, New York, in what police describe an ambush mode. The deadly shooting had happened just hours after the mayor declared a local state of emergency due to a surge in gun violence. Mr. Vickers is likely on his way to prison for the rest of his life. I mean, that's a little bit on Kelvin Vickers, right? But I want people to think about this. This kid's 21 years old. He walks out of prison, smells the fresh air. What do you think was going through this dude's mind? Was he thinking about what he wanted to do with the rest of his life? Was he like, look, man, I'm about to get a second chance. Here it is. I'm going to go out here. I'm going to find a job. I'm going to stack my money. I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to start a business. Like, what was this kid's mindset? At 21 years old, what was he thinking? He ends up in my city. A lot of people don't know why he was here. I seen an article where they said, hey, look, the dude's been in jail for 2 weeks. He still hasn't had a visitor, which leaves us to wonder, what the hell are you doing here? You know, you're thinking about the cops and you're like, man, they were staking out a murder suspect. Was it him? It wasn't him that they were looking for. I think they were staking out a different murder suspect. They were over there looking around, waiting on dude, watching whoever. And this kid comes up behind their vehicle. And he does what he does, right? Did someone send him out of a house? Did they think, we got issues with these dudes. These are the ops out here in the van. We need you to handle that business. Was he manipulated? Did he know that they were cops? Did he come here just because that was his focus? Like, I'm about to do this. I hate the police. There's a lot of people that feel that way. And like I said, some people might be mad, but keeping it real, I'm mad anytime the police kill people in the street, right? Innocent people get killed. It does happen. And I think we should also be mad when things like this happen, right? Like I said, this man had a wife. He had kids. Both of them got kids. I don't hate the police because they're the police. I don't. But I don't like when police do dirty shit. And as far as, Kelvin goes, this man was out of his mind. And now he's sitting in my county jail. And I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about that county jail. And we're going to do some stories about it. He's in a county jail that's a rough place. They got a place up there called the Mainframe, right? You go up to the Mainframe, you're around goons. You're around killers. You're around dudes, man, street dudes, for real street dudes. And I'm not saying that the kid's soft or anything. He's 21 years old, man. You have never really experienced life. You don't even know what you're up against. You're from Boston, depending on what type of gang you're really in. I've read some stuff about a little nonsense gang, but, if the kid goes up there and he's a blood, maybe he's all right up there. But if not, I can promise you that there's going to come a point where dudes are about to victimize this cat. He's 21 years old, man. Where is his parents at? Do you think they're coming to visit him? Do you think they're like, damn, are they all the way in Massachusetts, don't have the funds to come up here and see him on a visit? And what do you think is going through his mind? Do you think he's sitting on his bunk at night like, damn, man, I'm hungry. Ain't got no money. Usually when you're a young man like that, man, you're in the street. It's sad to say, but a lot of times, young dudes, you ain't got no money, man. You ain't got no bread. You probably caught the bus up here. Like you got on the Greyhound and you ended up in Rochester, New York for whatever reason you came up here for. And now you're sitting on your bunk, your stomach's touching your back. You don't even got a ramen soup. You're like, damn, I'm hungry. You smell other people cooking. They're cooking their little soups in their little garbage bags and all that stuff with hot water. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but it smells good when you're hungry. This man's sitting in his cell probably stressed out like, wow, I'm about to serve the rest of my life in prison. Do you really think they're going to let this cat cop out? This dude's not copping out. They're not letting this dude cop out. He's about to go to trial. He's probably going to have a lawyer that says, you know what? I've taken an oath here to represent people to the fullest extent of the law. Protect their constitutional rights. But do you really think that lawyer gives a shit about this dude? This dude came to their community. And there's going to be a lesson here for you young men that are watching, young women that are on the wrong path. Do you really think that public defender gives a shit about this dude? She's a public defender. She's an upstanding citizen. These are cops that were shot in her community. Man, they ain't trying to represent this cat, man. Mr. Vickers is going down. He's on the Titanic. And even if he don't realize it, he's definitely on there. And sometimes you'll be sitting in jail and you start thinking about your case. You're like, man, I could beat this. They don't got nothing. That my fingerprints aren't on the weapon. They didn't see me. They don't got no eyewitnesses. Listen, man, all that stuff's probably out the window. So while you're sitting on your bunk rubbing your head, you're 21 years old. Let's say you live 60 years. Let's say you live to your 81. You're going to spend 60 years of your life, man, in misery. And that's what the message is all about. That's what the lesson's about today, right? You're getting a lesson today. It's a teachable moment. That are you willing to spend the rest of your life in prison over nothing, man? Like, what were you thinking? At 21 years old, you had your whole life ahead of you. Everything's gone, man. Forever lost. The streets are gone. Hanging out with chicks is gone. You'll never drive a car again. You'll probably never eat a real pizza ever again. Just small things, right? You'll never go to an amusement park ever again. You'll never buy a Christmas gift in the mall ever again. You'll never buy anything on, eBay or Amazon. This is your life, man. Look around. Hard concrete and steel. Violence. New York State Prison is not a nice place. It's a violent place. Maybe not as violent as some of the stuff that we've seen in Alabama and Florida. And a large part of that is due to the cops have control over there. The cops have control in New York State Prison. They got these sticks that I've spoke about. They wing them around on their hands. They will crack you upside the head, man, with an oak stick. They will have 10 cops on top of you, beating the brakes off you while you're while you're screaming for your mother. And no one cares, man. Nobody cares. And while this kid's sitting in the county jail before he even gets to prison, you already know, man, he ain't got nothing coming. You think the cops in the county jail care about that cat? You just killed one of their people. You just went in the street and ambushed their people, and it's over with. You can't even get a roll of toilet paper, big dog. That's how it works. You can't get nothing. You're going to get your tray. If you do something wrong, they're going to take whatever privileges they can take from you. They're just waiting on you. They're waiting to disrespect you. They're waiting for you to get out of line so they can do something to you. You know, it used to be that old school justice back in the day when I was down there. They will definitely put their hands on you, and they'll find a reason to put their hands on you, and they'll make it all look good. So think about that. You're a young man in the street. What do you really want to do with your life, man? Two roads, like I always say. Do you want to be able to go to amusement parks and go to a concert? You want to be able to have a son someday? You want to be able to go to a football game? Or do you want to live in a chaotic place, man, where people are stabbing each other? In New York, man, they cut you with that razor blade right out of their mouth, right across your face. Is that what you're looking for? You heard the saying, $1.50, and all that stuff happens over there. I've seen some vicious things in New York State prison. I spoke about this, I think, before. One of my homeboys, man, Johnny Brown, Kilo, ended up with 37 years, 37 to life. You got 37 to life living in the street, man. And I seen him hit this kid, man, that we were cool with, a kid named Powerful from Syracuse. They're walking in the line. I think it was over a couple packs of cigarettes, right? I don't even think the kid smoked, man. But that was what the currency was. Got behind him in the line on the way to chow or on the way to rec, grabbed him. That's what they do. They grab you from behind and whacked his ass, man. But that's what your life's like. You know, you're never going to have peace, man. Prison is a place where I could say that you're never going to have peace. When do you have peace in prison? You know, you might hear some of these political prisoners talk about, they got peace. But, man, prison is a chaotic place, man. From the violence to all the people smoking deuce and stealing. And, there's always something happening in prison. Prison never closes and violence never stops. Chaos never stops. It's chaotic, man. You can never just lay down in your cell and be like, phew. And I talked about this before when them dudes were on Crack Alley. They were getting high. Dude walked in my cell, and I had to body shot this kid, man. 2 a.m, he walks in my cell, and I jump up. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about chaotic and chaos. That's what prison really is, man. People think, the feds, man. No, the feds it's absolute chaos. You get at the high level where there's extreme violence. You go to an FCI where, there is violence. Sometimes people die there too. And, just people running around getting high and out of their minds when they smoke that stuff. Never peace. At night, people are screaming and yelling, banging on the doors. You can't sleep. Then you get down to a lower level where the violence is pretty much, there ain't that much violence. But this is where people are stealing everybody's stuff. This is where the police have no control. There's 300 people in one unit, one cop. What do you think's going on in there, man? You go into the go take a shower and, dudes are doing the woo-hoo in there. You can't even take a shower. You're like, what the? Yeah, that's the reality of prison. That's the life that you're going to live. But I know today's the day, man, that you're going to be like, wow, man, maybe Chad is kicking some real shit. I don't want to live like that. I don't want to be in prison. I don't want to miss out on Christmases and birthdays, and I want to watch the Bills go to the Super Bowl, or I want to see the Steelers play in the AFC Championship game and lose. And win. Joking. But that's just the reality, man. Don't you want to go to a concert? Don't you want to jump in the water and go swimming? You'll never jump in a swimming pool ever again. You'll never go out in the lake. You'll never do the things that really matter, man. You'll never get on a jet ski ever again. You'll never get on a four-wheeler. And when you're 21 years old, man, you probably haven't experienced life. But this is prison, man. It's real. It's raw. Make the right choices. Let today be the day. Blood on the Razor Wire TV. I hope you enjoyed it. With respect, until tomorrow, we're out.